चलो ट्राई करके देखते हैं। तेरी महफिल में किस्मत आजमा कर हम भी देखेंगे। ट्राई एक बार तो बनता ही है। यस। गुड इवनिंग माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स। As you know that we have already discussed some previous topics, that is the CETA suppression of Immoral Traffic Prevention Act, and another was that NDPS, and third was that Food Safety and Standard Act 2006. After successfully completing all these three topics, now fourth topic which I have to discuss, and that topic is which have been prescribed in your syllabus as a topic number fifth. As you know that I have not discussed first topic, first unit, whatever have been prescribed in your syllabus. First topic I will discuss when I will purchase some books and I will read thoroughly, and after that I will discuss that topic. Because that topic is a philosophical topic, and without reading the book, it is not possible to discuss that things. Now, what is the fifth topic? Fifth topic is that the Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. एक मिनट इसका सेटिंग चेंज कर देता हूँ, वर्ड फाइल में भी लिख ही रहा था इसको। यस, yes, that this topic I have to discuss Prevention of Corruption Act 1988. Everyone know that this is a very burning topic, and as you know that nowadays in every elections, everyone is talking about the Prevention of the Corruption Act. Everyone is talking, and in the Bihar at present time election is going on, and as you know that the corruption is all over rampant, all over. Corruption is all over rampant all over the India, but especially in the UP, Bihar, this is a big issue. And as you know that regarding the corruption charge in the Bihar, Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav had been punished, and now he is in the jail. And as you know that whenever we are talking about the Bihar and Haryana, especially in the Haryana there are also rampant corruption, and some persons have also been sent to jail. But due to the political support, they are out from the jail. That is the another issue. My point is that corruption is a very big issue, and being a law students, we have to know about this particular law thoroughly. As you know that the normal discussion, normal routine discussion only for reading the semester exam, that is not the good things. You don't read this chapter, don't read this topic only for the purpose of class discussion or for the semester exam. Read with moral consciousness, read yourself, read for your understanding. This is the good topic. Regarding the syllabus, as you know that in our faculty, there we discuss with the help of PageMate, and the syllabus is that first syllabus is that need of the act. In the topic, in this topic, what is the first topic? Need of the act. Need of the act, it means here the Prevention of Corruption Act. The point is that why, in which circumstances Prevention of Corruption Act was enacted. In the please wait for 1 minute. Yes, as you know that in our syllabus, in this topic, first unit is that need of the act. Need of the act, it means in which circumstances this act was enacted. That is the why Prevention of Corruption Act was enacted. In which particular circumstances it was enacted. As you know that in the IPC, some sections also talks about the Prevention of Corruption Act, and under the our law in 1947, some law was also enacted to prevent the corruption. And as you know that the some committees, Central Vigilance Committee, central bodies are also running for the prevention of the corruptions. The question is that in which circumstances this particular act was enacted. As you know that we do have to discuss region object of this particular act, but along with the statements of the regions and objects of this particular case, you have also read Santhanam committee report. Now question arrived that what is the Santhanam committee report? I will discuss after 5 minutes. Please wait this point. And the next topic is that about the detail of this particular act, that is what is the definition of public servant. As you know that definition of public servant is very important, and under the Indian Penal Code, Section 21 also defines the word public servant. As you know that the in the case of normal corruptions, there is a punishment, but in the case of corruption done by the public servant, that is the harsher punishment. And as you know that in the welfare state, maximum functions are performed by the government, and that government performs its act with the help of public servant. That's why point is that what is the meaning of public servant? This word has been defined under this particular act, that is the Prevention of Corruption Act, as well as under the Indian Penal Code. That's why, as you know, that if the meaning of the public servant is narrower, so only few officers will be covered under this particular act. If the meaning will be wider, maximum public servants will be covered under this particular act. So my point is that interpretation of the public servant must be done in the wider manner so that maximum public servant can be covered, and against them action can be taken so that corruption can be prevented. So that's why definition of public servant and is very important, as well as the gratification. What is the meaning of gratification? Being a public servant is not a crime. I am also a public servant. If you interpret regarding my service in Delhi University, yes, I am a public servant. And being a public servant is not a crime. But once a public servant started to take gratification, that will be committed crime. The question arises, what is the gratifications? That is a wider meaning must be given. Suppose that I am saying that okay, I am public servant. Regarding the attendance, suppose that I said that Ranba requested me, sir, in the previous class I had attended your classes, but you have forget to mention you have did not mark present. I told you that no. Okay, when you are present, but I will not put attendance unless and until you give me 1,000 rupees. Okay, demanding of 1,000 rupees, whether this is the gratification or not. Of course, this is the gratifications demanded by the public servant. Wait for 1 minute. In this way, I am a public servant, there is no crime, but once I started to demand the gratification, that is the crime. The question arises, what is the gratification? जैसे हम लोग क्या करते हैं कि गांव में जब पढ़ते थे तो हम लोग के गुरु जी कहा करते थे कि यार जैसे हम लोग का खिचड़ी का टाइम आ गया, जन्म मकर संक्रांति जिसको तुम लोग कहते हो, तो आदमी क्या करता था, वॉलंटरली अपना जितना होता था चूरा दाना भेली गुड़ जो भी होता था, तो गुरु जी को ले जा करके हमेशा दे देता था। एक श्रद्धा होती थी, तो श्रद्धा होती थी, दैट इज नॉट ग्रेटिफिकेशन। लेकिन अगर गुरु जी वहीं कहते कि नहीं देखो मकर संक्रांति आने वाली है, सबको लेकर के आना होगा, चूरा दही जो भी हो, अगर तुम सब नहीं लेकर के आओगे तो तुम सबों का नाम काट करके भगा देंगे। तो गुरु जी ने जैसे ही ने कहा कि तुम्हें लाना पड़ेगा, यू हैव टू ब्रिंग चूरा दही भेली गुड़ व्हाट एवर माइट विद दैट, अदरवाइज ही विल कट योर नेम, that is come under the category of gratification. But suppose that a people is voluntarily offering chura dahi good whatever might be, that will not come under the definition of gratification. So my point is that in this case, public servant as well as gratification, meaning of these two things must be interpreted in some wider term, in wider sense. Next point is that offences committed by public servant and bribe giver and their penalties. It talks about the offence committed by the public servant as well as if any person who have given the bribe or proposed the bribe, that is also a punishment. Punishment for attempt. As you know that if we read the 511, if we read the 511 of the Indian Penal Code, everyone talks about the attempt in the Indian Penal Code. As you know that I always say that there are generally three things come under the definition of inchoate crime. Three things comes under the definition of inchoate crime. What is the meaning of inchoate crime? This is also asked in the competitive exam. Inchoate crime means incomplete crime. Inchoate crime means incomplete crime. For example, there are three offences come under the category of inchoate crime. First is that conspiracy, second is the abatement, third is the attempt. There are three inchoate crime. First is conspiracy, second is the abatement, third is the attempt. And here the section 15 talks about the punishment for the attempt. It means in this particular case, attempt is also punishable. Next point is that sanction for prosecution. This is the important point. Sanction for the prosecution, and this particular section must be read section 19 along with section 197 of the CRPC. As you know that in the CRPC, whenever I teach the CRPC, in the CRPC I always comfortable. In the IPC, CRPC evidence, there is no problem. बाकी सब्जेक्ट अगर होता है ना, जैसे कि आप ये सब सब्जेक्ट होता तो कई बार क्या होता है कि जैसे मान लीजिए कभी नहीं पढ़ पाया या तबीयत खराब हो गई, तो एक दो क्लास बिना पढ़े हुए भी दो चार पांच क्लास तो ऐसे ही पढ़ा देगा। अभी नया एक होने की वजह से समझ लो कि प्रॉब्लम इतनी है कि आप एक दिन भी नहीं पढ़ पाओगे। अब संडे है, चाहे फेस्टिवल है, कुछ भी है, अब हमें पढ़ना ही पढ़ना है, क्योंकि हम उसे बच ही नहीं सकते, चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए। क्योंकि नहीं पढ़ेंगे तो पढ़ाई नहीं पाएंगे। पहली बार एक आ रहा है, इसलिए प्रॉब्लम आ रही है थोड़ा सा। लेकिन ठीक है, एक मेरा भी पुराना डायलॉग है कि हमेशा दुख के बाद सुख आता है। एक बार तो पे करना ही पड़ेगा, नेक्स्ट टाइम में प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा। Sanction for prosecution whenever I teach cognizance under the CRPC, and as you know that whenever I teach this cognizance under the CRPC, I always divide the cognizance chapter into two parts. First part is that regarding the meaning definition, whatever might be that. Second part is that limitation. Limitation is that when court cannot take the cognizance, when the court cannot take the cognizance. For example, if the offence is for the sedition, even the charge sheet has been submitted, but court cannot take the cognizance, court cannot start the trial. Why? For example, there is a highlighted example is that in the case of Mr. Kanhaiya Kumar, what happened? There was whether he had given the slogan or not, it is not our matter. One only for the purpose of cognizance was that charge sheet was submitted, but court was unable to proceed the trial. Why? Because 196 of the CRPC says that in the case of sedition, court cannot initiate proceeding unless and until prior permission, prior consent, prior sanction. Sanction is a proper word. Prior sanction had been given by the state government. जैसे हम लोग जब देखते हैं कि 195 से जब आप सीआरपीसी पढ़ते हो, 195, 196, 789 ये भी whatever might be that till 1999, तो उसमें यही कहता है कि आप कॉग्निजेंस तभी ले सकते हैं जब प्रायर सैंक्शन मिल चुका हो। अगर प्रायर सैंक्शन नहीं मिला तो आप कॉग्निजेंस नहीं ले सकते। जैसे कि एग्जांपल के तौर पर हम बताते हैं आपको कि एक सेक्शन जैसे मान लीजिए कि 196 है, सेडिशन के ऊपर हमारे ऊपर चार्ज लग गया। चार्ज लगने के बावजूद भी कोर्ट प्रोसीडिंग तब तक नहीं कर सकता जब तक कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट या सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट एज द केस में भी परमिशन या सैंक्शन न दे दे। तो मिस्टर कन्हैया कुमार के केस में यही हुआ, चार्जशीट सबमिट होने के बावजूद भी कोर्ट प्रोसीड क्यों नहीं कर पा रहा था? क्योंकि उसको स्टेट गवर्नमेंट ने, जैसे कि मान लीजिए मिस्टर केजरीवाल की सरकार ने सैंक्शन नहीं दे रही थी प्रोसीड करने के लिए। जब इलेक्शन हुआ, इलेक्शन जीतने के बाद उस केस में सैंक्शन दिया गया, इसके बाद कोर्ट प्रोसीडिंग फर्दर मतलब आगे बढ़ी। तो इसी तरह से 197 में भी है। 197 is specifically for the protection of the public servant. As you know that I am a public servant, Against me, charge FIR can be filed, no problem. Against me, charge sheet can be filed, no problem. But regarding proceeding of the court can't proceed against me. Court can't proceed against me unless and until prior sanction is granted by the central government. Why central government? According to section 97 says that central 197 can be divided into two parts. If you are the state government employee, okay, the sanction of the state government is necessary. If you are central government employee, central sanction of the central government is necessary. According to section 91 says that if action cognizance can't be taken against the public servant unless prior sanction has been granted by the central government. If you are going to take action against me, whatever I have done personally, whatever I have done officially, जैसे मैं दो काम कर सकता हूँ. पहला काम तो ये है कि अब देखो हमारी पर्सनालिटी दो पार्ट में डिवाइड हो गई. एक हमारी पर्सनल लाइफ है, एक हमारी प्रोफेशनल लाइफ है. अगर हम पर्सनल लाइफ में कोई काम करते हैं, अब हम टीचर हैं फैकल्टी के, whatever I had done in the personal life, in that matter there is no need of the sanction. जैसे मान लीजिए कि हम पर्सनल लाइफ में जा रहे हैं, रोड पर मारपीट कर लिए, किसी का सर फोड़ दिए और हमारे ऊपर केस चला, तो उसमें सैंक्शन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. क्यों? क्योंकि मैं जो मारपीट किया हूं उसमें मैं आई वॉज नॉट परफॉर्मिंग पब्लिक ड्यूटी. In that case, although I am public servant, but at that time I was not performing the public duty. इसमें किसी भी सैंक्शन की जरूरत नहीं है. अब दूसरा काम देखो, इसमें सैंक्शन की जरूरत है. अब हम ऑफिशियली क्लास ले रहे हैं, ऑनलाइन क्लासेस ले रहे हैं आपका, इसमें कोई डिस्प्यूट राइज हो जाता है, इसमें किसी बात को लेकर के डिस्प्यूट राइज हो जाए, कुछ भी डिस्प्यूट राइज हो जाए और तुम हमारे खिलाफ केस फाइल कर दो. अब केस फाइल कर दो, FIR हो सकती है, चार्जशीट सबमिट हो सकती है, लेकिन हमारे खिलाफ कोर्ट एक्शन नहीं ले सकता तब तक कि जब तक कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट सैंक्शन न दे दे. इसकी जरूरत क्यों पड़ी? इसकी जरूरत इसलिए पड़ी कि इफ यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू गिव प्रोटेक्शन टू द पब्लिक सर्वेंट, what could be happen? Suppose that future I am some disputes arise against between me and Sakshi. What would be happen? Sakshi immediately will go and file a case against me and I will be sent to the jail. It means public servant will not feel comfortable to take strict action, क्योंकि हमेशा डर लगा रहेगा कि हम जैसे ही उसके खिलाफ स्ट्रिक्ट एक्शन लेंगे, उसने बात बात पर केस फाइल कर देगी और हमेशा मैं जेल में ही रहूंगा. तो अगर पब्लिक सर्वेंट को हमेशा डर बना रहेगा तो काम क्यों करेगा? वो तो कोई काम ही नहीं कर पाएगा. और सामने वाला क्या करेगा? पब्लिक कि बात बात पे कहेगा कि मेरा काम कर दो, नहीं तो तुम्हारे खिलाफ जेल भिजवा दूंगा, काम कर दो नहीं तो जेल भिजवा दूंगा. तो मतलब ये है कि 197 gives the protection. This is for the benefit of the public servant so that they can perform their duty fearlessly. That's why next point is that presumption where public servant accept granting gratification. As you know that presumption, there are several types of presumption: rebuttable presumption of fact, rebuttable presumption of law, irrebuttable presumption of law. I will discuss all these things. Here, these are the some topics which have been prescribed in your syllabus. And next point is that here there are three cases which have been prescribed in your syllabus. Among them, that is the Kalicharan Mahapatra versus State of Odisha. Another is that Kanwarjit Singh Kakkar versus State of Punjab, and other is the Abhay Singh Chautala versus CBI. Yes. I was saying that Abhay Singh Chautala versus CBI. Might be that this case was case of the Haryana. Might be that. I'm not sure, but that might be Abhay Singh Chautala, maybe case of the Haryana. These are the three cases which I have to discuss, but I know that these are not sufficient cases. I know 2 or 3 cases which I will discuss, because those cases are very important. For example, in the case of the Narasimha Rao case, that is the most favorable. That is the most favorable case which I always prefer, because in this case, first time Honorable Supreme Court said that even the public representative, MP, MLA are also the public servant, and against them action can be taken under the Prevention of Corruption Act. I will discuss 2 or 3 cases which are not in your syllabus. Totally, I will take help of the six or seven cases to discuss this topic. As you know that I always teach not only for your semester exam, क्योंकि मुझे मालूम है सेमेस्टर एग्जाम में तुम लोग तो डुक्की ही पढ़ोगे, गाइड ही पढ़ोगे, बाकी टीचर क्या पढ़ाता है उससे कोई लेना देना थोड़ी है। हाँ, आप दो चार को मान लीजिए कंपटीशन के लिए पढ़ोगे तो बस दैट इज द गुड। Come to the previous year question paper. Regarding the previous year question paper, there are some problems you can discuss. No need to repeat. Here you can see that the question is the 2015, 16, 2017, 18, 19. These are the question paper which you can discuss. Come to the starting point. For the example, first point is that report of the Committee on the Prevention of Corruption, that is the Santhanam Committee. What was the Santhanam Committee? As you know that if you see your syllabus, here the need of the act, that is the read with Santhanam Committee. Then I will start from the Santhanam Committee. So what was the Santhanam Committee? Why it was enacted? How it was enacted? When it performed its. See the report of the Santhanam Committee on the Prevention of Corruption Act, and this is available on the government website, and you can download and you can read yourself. This report is near about 250 pages. That's why it creates a big problem. 250 पेज को पढ़ करके तुरंत समराइज कर लें तो बड़ा डिफिकल्ट काम होता है। चलो कम टू द पॉइंट। संथानम कमेटी, दिस इज द ग्रेट स्कॉलर ऑफ इंडिया, and as you know that his work was extraordinary, and here you can see the dark ticket. This is the dark ticket issued in the name of this particular legal luminaries, this particular person. Here this denotes value of these persons. Come to the point, what happened, why this committee was constituted. Why this committee was constituted? It was constituted when during the debate of the parliament in June 1962. In June 1962, एक मिनट कलर देखे कुछ काम करता है क्या? सही है, इस पर भी काम हो जा रहा है। वर्ड फाइल है, बाद में ठीक करना पड़ेगा मुझे, कोई बात नहीं, कर देंगे। Yes, during debate in parliament in June 1962, what happened? As you know that corruption is a big issue, not only in the medieval period and modern period. It was from since ancient time also. But corruption from the very beginning is going on in this country. So what happened during the debate in parliament in June 1962? June 1962 means before the attack of the Indo-China, before the attack of the China. As you know that China attacked over the India in 1962 also, but this is the story of the before China attack. What happened in June 1962? There was a parliamentarian session was going on, and there was hot debate on the issue of the corruption. And as you know that in the 1962, Honorable Mr. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister, and Honorable Pandit Lal Bahadur Shastri was the Home Minister at that time. My point is that when the Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the Prime Minister at that time, respected Pandit Lal Bahadur Shastri was the Home Minister, and you can't raise their capacity. As you know that wrong can be committed by anyone unintentionally, किसी से भी गलती हो सकती है, और कई बातें होती है कि पास्ट की घटनाएं जब प्रेजेंट में रखकर कैलकुलेट करोगे तो तुम्हें कुछ न कुछ कमी दिखाई देगी, इसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। लेकिन उस टाइम घटना उस टाइम के हिसाब से देखोगे तो शायद परिस्थितियों को भाप सको, जो भी हो। आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डिफेंड एनीवन। During the debate in parliament in June 1962, there was demand by several parliamentarians that strict action must be taken to prevent the menace of the corruptions. As you know that in 1947 and some other act had been enacted to control the menace. As you know that even the Indian Penal Code, some provisions talks about the gratifications, talks about the punishment in case of taking the bribe. Yes, there are certain provisions in the IPC also, but provisions in the IPC were not sufficient, and whatever law were enacted after the independence, they were also not sufficient to tackle the menace of corruption. So what happened on their huge demand, and there was demand to constitute the committee to tackle this menace. So what happened, Pandit, at that time, Pandit Lal Bahadur Shastri decided to constitute Pandit Lal Bahadur Shastri decided to constitute a committee, and according to the Lal Bahadur Shastri, according to the Shastri ji, his view was that if he is going to appoint independent persons to be chair, it will take much more time. That's why he requested from the parliamentarian, please come forward and take this and form the committee and submit the report. शास्त्री जी ने कहा कि देखिए हमारे पास टाइम भी कम है, और अगर हम लोग किसी इंडिपेंडेंट बॉडी को कॉन्स्टिट्यूट करेंगे, किसी थर्ड व्यक्ति को कॉन्स्टिट्यूट करेंगे, तो उसमें टाइम लगेगा। तो ऐसा करते हैं कि हम लोग पार्लियामेंटेरियन से जो अपने मेंबर हैं, इसमें से ही हम लोग आप आगे बढ़ करके एक कमेटी फॉर्म करते हैं, और वह कमेटी इसमें रिपोर्ट सबमिट करे तो ज्यादा बेटर होगा। क्योंकि देखो इवन टुडे parliamentarian have a much more knowledge about the ground reality. Whether they perform their work or not is other things, but they are expert in the ground reality. उनसे बढ़िया ग्राउंड रियलिटी कोई जान ही नहीं सकता। अब काम ना करना एक अलग चीज है, लेकिन they are the best person to know the ground reality. In that circumstances, Pandit K. Pandit K. Santhanam. I think this was the, I don't know whether he belonged to the South India or North India, I don't know. But by name, I think that he was a South Indian. Because here they were used the K. K is the initial name, K. Santhanam. In the South, whenever they want to write the, they always write the TH. Suppose that they want to write Sarita. Sarita, they will write SARITH, और हमारे यहाँ पे क्या होता है, टी ही यूज करते, यच यूज नहीं करते। तो क्या लिखेंगे वो, SARITHA, सरिता। जैसे हमारे यहाँ राम और सीता लिखना होगा, तो जब वो सीता लिखेंगे साउथ इंडियन वाले, तो वो लिखेंगे SITHA, था को त पढ़ते हैं हम लोग, सरिता, सीता, और हम लोग उसको क्या पढ़ेंगे, त पढ़ेंगे। इसीलिए यहाँ पे देखो लिखा सतनाम, TH, लेकिन हम पढ़ेंगे क्या इसको, सतनाम, TH सतनाम या संतानाम। The Pandit K. Satnam was the MP. He was the member of the parliament. He became the chairman, and 7 other members also formed the committee. It means total how many members? Total 8 members. One chairperson, and 7 members formed this committee. How many members? Total 7 members formed this committee. And he was the MP, member of parliamentarian. The committee started its function. Meanwhile, China attacked over India. That's why there was some delay in submission of the report. There was some delay in submission of report. Because जैसे चाइना ने भारत पर अटैक किया, तो भारत की डिमांड चेंज हो गई। तो भारत का गवर्नमेंट का कहना था कि देखिए चाइना अटैक कर चुका है और हमें डिफेंस लॉ में रिपोर्ट की जरूरत है, डिफेंस लॉ को हमें स्ट्रांग करने की जरूरत है। तो आप लोग ऐसा करिए कि जो करप्शन की जो रिपोर्ट सबमिट करनी है, थोड़ा सा उसको डिले कर लीजिए, लेकिन जो डिफेंस लॉ है उस पर हमें रिकमेंड करिए जितना जल्दी हो सके। अब संथानम कमेटी के लोगों ने क्या किया, संथानम कमेटी में 6 MP थे, मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंटेरियन 6 थे, और जो 2 थे वो मतलब विजिलेंस कमेटी से थे, इधर उधर से थे, टोटल इस तरह के थे। अब इन लोगों ने क्या किया कि देश पर अटैक होने के बाद जो करप्शन के जो मुद्दे थे उसको ठंडे बत्ते में डाल करके बाकी जितना जल्दी हो सके डिफेंस लॉ पर कई रिपोर्ट इन्होंने सबमिट किया। और इस जब अटैक खत्म हो गया, नॉर्मल सर्कमस्टांसेस आ गया, तब इन्होंने करप्शन के मैटर पर रिपोर्ट अपनी सबमिट किया। इन्होंने अपनी सफाई दी है कि देखिए हम लोग की कमेटी जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूट हुई थी इसलिए हुई थी कि नहीं MP अगर रहेंगे तो जल्दी से रिपोर्ट सबमिट हो जाएगी, लेकिन हमें दुख के साथ ये बात कहना पड़ रहा है कि हम लोग अपनी रिपोर्ट 64 में सबमिट कर रहे हैं। इसका रीजन हम लोगों की गलती नहीं है, हम लोगों ने जब एफर्ट किया लेकिन चाइना अटैक होने की वजह से हम लोगों को कई मुद्दे पर रिपोर्ट सबमिट करनी पड़ी, इसलिए हम लोग ये डिले से रिपोर्ट सबमिट कर रहे हैं। मतलब कि दे वर वेरी ऑनेस्ट, ऐसा नहीं था काम नहीं किए बेचारे, काम तो बड़ी मेहनत से किए, लेकिन अब भाई अब काम ज्यादा दे दोगे तो काम तो करना पड़ेगा, तो जब कुछ और काम करोगे तो टाइम तो लगेगा ही। तो दैट्स व्हाई कमेटी वाज फॉर्म्ड इन 1962 and finally and the report of the corruption was submitted in 1964. Now committee submitted its report in 1964, and on this issue some following suggestions were suggested, some following recommendations were done by the committee. What were the recommendation of the committee? I will discuss later on, but again I will discuss this. पहले देख लो, तुम सब लीव करके तो नहीं छोड़ के चले गए हो, पता चले कि हम पढ़ा रहे कोई हो ही ना। यस, तुम सब डटे हुए हो, कोई बात नहीं। देखो टीचर को क्या चाहिए, दो चार स्टूडेंट्स चाहिए पढ़ने वाले, बाकी तो ठीक है, बाकी तो यूट्यूब पे डाल ही देते हैं बेचारे, अपना देखते रहते हैं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। Raniba, are you getting my points? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Because regarding my language, I always have doubt. That's why I always ask you. Come to the point. Yes, what was the recommendation of this committee? Recommendation of this committee was that regarding the cooling period, most important point was that cooling period. What is the cooling period? Everyone knows about the cooling period. In the government job, yeah, whenever I say the cooling period means suppose that in the government sector, in the job, what is that cooling period? What is the sense here? It was sense that suppose that Raniba is going to retire in 2020. She is going to retire 2020. So she must not be allowed to join another job for 2 years. She should not be allowed to join another job up to the 2 years. It means 2022 2022 मतलब 2020 से लेकर के 2022 तक, मतलब 20 से लेकर के 22 तक she will not do any job. That will be called as a cooling period. Why she should not be allowed to join another job immediately just after retirement from the public servant? Otherwise what would be happen? Suppose that she knows that she is going to retire in 1 year or 2 years. She will started to do work, some she will started to do some illegal work, so that after retirement she can get benefit. कूलिंग पीरियड में क्या होता है कि अगर हम कूलिंग पीरियड नहीं रखेंगे, जैसे मान लीजिए कि मैं पब्लिक सर्वेंट हूँ, मुझे मालूम है कि मैं रिटायर होने वाला हूँ, तो मैं सोचूंगा यार मैं रिटायर होने के बाद मेरी लाइफ कहाँ जाएगी, मैं क्या करूंगा रिटायरमेंट होने के बाद। अब तो मैं 60 साल का हो गया, रिटायर हो रहा हूँ, तो मुझे कौन पूछेगा, कौन नौकरी में रखेगा, और मैं तो मेरा लाइफ तो कुछ है ही नहीं। तो मैं क्या करूंगा कि प्राइवेट कंपनी के फेवर में डिसीजन देना शुरू कर दूंगा, या प्राइवेट कंपनी के फेवर में मतलब ऐसा काम करूंगा ताकि रिटायर होने के बाद मैं प्राइवेट कंपनी से मोटी रकम ले सकूं, क्योंकि अभी गवर्नमेंट जॉब में हूँ, अभी हमारे ऊपर सर्विलांस है, अभी हमारे ऊपर आरटीआई फाइल हो जाएगी, अभी हमारे पास 50 की समस्या है, अभी मैं कुछ नहीं करूंगा, बस ऐसा काम करूं कि रिटायरमेंट होने के बाद प्राइवेट कंपनी ज्वाइन कर लूं और वहां से सारा पैसा अपना ले लूं। तो कूलिंग पीरियड इसलिए रखा गया है कि रिटायरमेंट होने के बाद कम से कम 2 साल तक कोई जॉब ज्वाइन कर ही न सको, ये लॉ बना देना चाहिए। As you know that what happened nowadays, even in the judiciary, High Court and Supreme Court, this is the big issue. Whether judges are doing their job in a proper manner or not, but in the public message is going on worst message. What is the worst message? Everyone knows that Honorable Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi, just after retirement, he he joined as a member of the Rajya Sabha. And who sent him in the Rajya Sabha? Ruling party, that is the BJP, sent him the Rajya Sabha. It was just a wrong message to the public, and it denotes that when he was as a judge of when he was the Chief Justice of India, he was doing job in favor of the BJP rather than any political, rather than for the independence of the judiciary. रंजन गोगोई का रिटायरमेंट होने के बाद तुरंत बीजेपी ज्वाइन कर लेना बहुत ही गलत मैसेज गया है। और जब इस तरह के जब मैसेज आते हैं तो ये दिखने लगता है कि जो जितने डिसीजन आप लिए होंगे आदमी उसी चश्मे से देखना शुरू कर देता है, उसी एंगल से देखना शुरू कर देता है। नॉट ओनली रंजन गोगोई, ऑनरेबल जस्टिस रंजन गोगोई, सम मोर जजेस who decided who delivered judgment in favor of the government, and when he retired at the same day they joined another job। मतलब कई जजेज हैं, दो जजों को मैं भी जानता हूँ, 5 जून की तारीख थी शायद, 5 जून को रिटायर होते हैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट ऑफ इंडिया से, और 5 जून को ही गवर्नमेंट के फेवर से किसी कमीशन का या किसी ट्रिब्यूनल का मेंबर बन जाते हैं। मतलब इस तरह का कूलिंग पीरियड नहीं है। इन एब्सेंस ऑफ द कूलिंग पीरियड जजेस आर डिसाइडिंग जजमेंट in favor of the government, and just after retirement they are joining the commission, they are joining the tribunal, they are joining the ruling party or opposite party। This is a totally wrong message। Think how much Santhanam committee was expert, how much Santhanam committee was expert। It means near about 50 years ago, Santhanam committee had suggested such a cooling period for the government employee। Yes, this is a very good thing. It must be accepted. Otherwise, every government employee, especially the judges, are doing job not only for the independence of the judiciary, but for the political parties. That is the wrong benefit. What happened about this? It was suggested that if any government employee is doing job in favor of some particular person, so what should be done? In that case, even after retirement, his whole benefit must be stopped। For example, pension provident fund must be stopped। Suppose that in the last moment, what happened in the Bellary case? In the Bellary case, everyone knows that judge who is going to retire on the last date, he delivered, he granted bail in favor of the Reddy Bandhu, and he was arrested with 1 crore rupees। बिल्लारी के मामले में रेड्डी बंधुओं को दोनों को 1-1 करोड़ रुपया लेकर के जिस दिन जज साहब रिटायर हो रहे थे उसी दिन उन्होंने बेल दे दिया। at the last date he is granted the bail in those two persons, those politicians। What happened? That's why recommendation is that if any person is arrested or charge sheeted under the corruption cases, all the benefit must be stopped, including the pension provident fund। ये सजेशन था कि अगर किसी के ऊपर एफआईआर लग जाती है या करप्शन के चार्जेस लग जाते हैं तो इवन उसे रिटायरमेंट के बाद भी ये ना सोचे कि ना तुम्हें रिटायर होगी, अब गवर्नमेंट मेरा क्या कर लेगी, अब तुम्हें रिटायर हो गया, लास्ट दिन में क्या जाता है, कैसे जाता है ना। इवन लास्ट डेट में भी अगर ऐसा डिसीजन लेता है और वो पकड़ा जाता है तो जितने पेंशन है प्रोविडेंट फंड सब उसको रोक दो, उसको कुछ भी अलाउ मत करो। As you know that I know a person who is the well known, I know him personally। What happened? His father was arrested in the charge, in the corruption charges, and even after the retirement, when he was sent to jail, there was a big issue in front of him whether government should allow withdrawal of pension money provident fund or not। उनके जेल जाने के बाद सबसे बड़ा उनके सामने यही की प्रॉब्लम थी कि अब इस मामले में क्या गवर्नमेंट हमें पेंशन अलाउ करेगी या नहीं करेगी। तो उनकी पेंशन प्रोविडेंट फंड सब कुछ रोक दिया गया था। तो इस तरह की समस्या किसमें कहा गया था कि such types action must be taken। Post retirement, it was suggested that if the government employee is not doing work in a well manner and there is a charge of the corruption, he must be forced retired। For example, either he has completed 50 years or 25 years। In case of the charge allegation against him, he must be forcefully retired। इसमें कहा गया कि जिस ऑफिसर के खिलाफ, पब्लिक सर्वेंट के खिलाफ अगर करप्शन के चार्जेस लगे हैं, एलिगेशन है, उसके खिलाफ फोर्स रिटायरमेंट कर दीजिए। उसको उस तरह के व्यक्ति को कंटिन्यू जॉब करने की जरूरत नहीं है। या तो वो 25 साल की उम्र पूरा कर चुका हो, या 50 साल का, या 50 साल या 25 साल की जॉब पूरी कर चुकी हो, या 50 साल उम्र पूरा कर चुका हो, दोनों मामले में आप फोर्स रिटायर कर दीजिए। It was said that there must be machinery to continue vigilance. It was said that some internal machinery must be established to continue vigilance over the public servant. Yes, this is very reliable. In every department, there is a vigilance machinery. जैसे होता क्या कि जो आईएएस होते हैं, आईपीएस होते हैं, जजेस होते हैं, उनको पता नहीं होता है, लेकिन कंटिन्यू उनके ऊपर सर्विलांस रहता है, कंटिन्यू। इसीलिए आप देखेंगे कि क्या हुआ था पिछली बार, बिहार में कम से कम 25-30 जजेस थे, नेपाल गए थे कुछ ट्रेनिंग व्रेनिंग के मामले में। वहाँ किसी लड़की उड़की का प्रॉब्लम आ गया। किस तरह का प्रॉब्लम आया हम उतना मुझे नहीं मालूम है, लेकिन लड़की का प्रॉब्लम आया था। जो भी प्रॉब्लम रहा होगा, उनको मालूम भी नहीं चला कि हमारे ऊपर इस तरह का विजिलेंस लगा हुआ है। उनको लगा कि हम इतना एक्सपर्ट है, हम जो भी काम कर रहे हैं किसी को पता ही नहीं चल रहा होगा। 25-30 लोग को एक साथ ही हाई कोर्ट में तलब कर दिया। अब बाद में पता चला कि कहाँ से उनको रिपोर्ट मिली थी, कैसे पता चला कि हम लोग क्या कर रहे थे। अब जाकर पता चला कि उनके ऊपर कंटिन्यू विजिलेंस रहता है हाई कोर्ट का। तो एक हमेशा इंटरनल मशीनरी रहती है और हमेशा सुपरवाइज करती रहती है कि इस तरह के जो गवर्नमेंट एम्प्लॉय हैं वो कर क्या रहे हैं। इसमें भी सजेशन था कि देयर मस्ट बी कंटिन्यू विजिलेंस। आई विल टेक ओनली 5 minutes. Regarding the section 21 must be amended, as you know that 21 of the IPC, which talks about the definition of the public servant. As you know that if there is a narrower definition of the public servant, it means there is a narrower application of the Prevention of Corruption Act. If there is a wider definition of the public servant, it means there is a wider application of the public servant. क्यों? क्योंकि देखो जो ये जो एक्ट आया हुआ है प्रिवेंशन ऑफ करप्शन एक्ट का, ये पब्लिक सर्वेंट के लिए ही है। अब पब्लिक सर्वेंट का डिफिनेशन तुम नैरोवर कर दोगे, ऑफ कोर्स इसका एप्लीकेशन, इस पार्टिकुलर एक्ट का एप्लीकेशन है नैरोवर ही होगा। अगर इसका वाइडर इंटरप्रिटेशन करोगे तो वाइडर होगा। दैट्स व्हाई इट वाज सजेस्टेड दैट द पब्लिक सर्वेंट वर्ड as it has been used under the 21 of the IPC must be amended and wider meaning must be given. It means some more officers must be added under the definition of the public servant. Next point is that there must be vigilance. Spelling गलत लग रही है कुछ तो। There must be vigilance commission at the 3 level. There must be vigilance commission at the 3 level, that is at the central level, state level, and district level and district levels. As you know that on the basis of this report, Central Vigilance Commission was constituted. Central Vigilance Commission was constituted. When it was constituted? It was constituted in 1964. And when Central Vigilance Commission was given statutory status, it was given statutory status in 2003. As you know that when it was constituted, it was not the statutory body. It was not a statutory body. But during the regime of the Honorable Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Central Vigilance Act was enacted, and that body, Central Vigilance Commission, was granted as a statutory status. It means at present time, question is that whether Central Vigilance Commission is a statutory body or not. Your answer will be say that respected sir, regarding the status of Central Vigilance Commission, we can divide into 2 parts. First part, since 1964 to 2003, it was not the statutory body. But since 2003 till now, this is the statutory body. Okay, I hope you have got this point. And every exam, even in the GS, question is that on the basis of which report Central Vigilance Commission was constituted. On the basis of Which report Central Vigilance Commission was constituted? Your answer will be that on the basis of Santhanam Committee report, Central Vigilance Commission was constituted. It was also suggested that Article 311 must be amended. Everyone knows that Article 311 of the Constitution of India gives protections to the public servant. Gives protection to the public servant. It means, for example, if you are a central government employee, if you are central government, एक तुम लोग का अगर सेक्शन 11 पढ़ोगे सीपीसी का, एक उसमें बहुत लैंडमार्क जजमेंट है सेक्शन 11 के कंस्ट्रक्टिव रेस जुडिकाटा का एक चैप्टर आएगा, सेक्शन 11 एक्सप्लेनेशन 4 है उसमें। तो कंस्ट्रक्टिव रेस जुडिकाटा में एक लीडिंग केस आएगा नवाब हुसैन वर्सेस समथिंग, नवाब हुसैन वर्सेस स्टेट ऑफ यूपी, दैट इज द लैंडमार्क जजमेंट. For example, here 311 says that no one, only who can remove from your post. According to the Article 311 says that public servant can be removed from his office only by authority who has appointed or superior authority. It means inferior authority can't remove you from your public servant. As you know that Professor Yogesh Tyagi, Honorable VC of the Delhi University, had been suspended by whom? By governor? No. By law ministry? No. By education ministry? No. By whom? By president. Why? Due to the section, due to the article 311. It was recommended that 311 gives much more protection to the central government. It is not good. There must be some fear among the public servant. That's why Article 311 must also be amended and lesser protection must be given so that there must be fear and they can do their work in a proper manner. I hope that all of you have enjoyed the class.